I'm not talking about it just to be cheap. I'm not talking about it just so you can be restricted and not live the life that you want to live. We have to do the uncool things, which is budget your money, so we can live the lifestyle that we actually want to live. And that's how we do it. And so if we continue to reduce the expenses and then put that money to work, then we'll be able to live that life that we see on TV or on social media and actually be living that life and not be capping out here. Because some of those people that you see on social media, they're broke. That's a fact. So instead of living and looking rich or wealthy or looking like you got it, let's actually do the things that we need to do to actually have it. Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 158, 158 weeks of consistency, 158 weeks of getting it done. We outside. Guys, we moving, man. 3 years in, we're 3 years in the game doing this podcast, growing and impacting people. And I am super excited. If you guys don't know, I made the course Budget Like a Boss. It's basically a 7-step guide to help you budget your money and live the life that you deserve and live the life that you want to live. And so I made that free on my YouTube channel. If you go to the playlist, it's right in there at Wealth is a Journey, and you will see everything. No charge means no excuse. And we got to get it done, man, for us and our family. So if you do not know how to handle your money currently, that is for you. So go ahead and take advantage of it. It does not cost you a dime. If you're a first time listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully, you're adding value to your lives on the way to the M's, because we are 1000% on the way to the M's. And you may say, Che Wills, what are the M's? Glad you asked. The M's are millions, millions in assets. And how are we going to get there? I'm also glad you asked that question as well. We are going to get there by reducing our expenses. We are going to take that pile of cash from reducing our expenses. We're going to march that money out into the marketplace to make us some money babies. And that's exactly what we are doing. Speaking of money babies, I had a very interesting conversation with my nephew. And I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about retiring or something like that. And he was like, yo, man, you're way too young to retire. And I looked at him like, what do you mean? He was like, well, don't you have to be 60 plus years old to retire? And I'm like, absolutely not. Retiring is not an age. It's basically a financial age. Like how much money do you have? Not a financial age, but you understand what I'm saying. It's basically how much money do you have, and the money that you have coming in, if you stop working, is that money going to be able to take care of your lifestyle? So we had a very good conversation about how, if he does the things that we talk about on a monthly basis, because I have a monthly call with my nephews and my son talking about all things finance. We talk about budgeting, we talk about investing. I give them, or I started giving them $25 a month to invest in any company that they wanted to invest in. And then also, well, now their parents are taking care of that. And I'm taking care of my son, my nephews, and my niece. Their parents are taking care of them. And we invest the money. And then we talk about how well their portfolios are doing. They go up and down, because this is going to get them started. So when they get out on their own, they're going to be in, they're going to have some type of know-how of investing, right? And because how many times have you said to yourself, you found out something about investing, or you found out something about how to handle money, and you're like, oh my God, I wish I had known that when I was younger. So what we're doing is we're taking that they're not going to be able to say that because they're going to get all the information early so they can get a head start out here when they start working on their own or they start working for a corporate job. So I explained to him, like, this is why we're investing all the time. So eventually, these investments will bring you back enough of a return. So then, if you want to walk away from working, you can completely do that because the investments will then be funding your lifestyle. And this is why it's important for us and them to know what a budget is out of the gate. Why do they want to know why do they need to know what a budget is? I'll tell you. They need to know what a budget is because the budget is going to basically give you a roadmap to live the life that you want to live. But here's the problem. A lot of people when they hear the word budget, they feel they hear that word and they get tight and they think restriction. They think I can't do blah 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 whatever they want to buy, they can't do it. And that is very very far from the truth. The problem is that if you don't give your money an assignment, your money is just going to vanish. I promise you that. I've been in many situations before where I didn't necessarily have a plan for my money, and then a thought came to my head about where to spend the money, and the money just vanished. It was gone. And so when you think of budget, you need to change your perspective because the budget is going to, again, it's going to give you a roadmap to get to where you want to go. So everybody's not going to want to go the same place. But wherever you wanna go and wherever you wanna take your family, whether that's being debt free, whether that's, paying off a credit card, whether that's, taking a nice trip or planning a nice dinner, things of that nature. When I say nice dinner, I'm talking about an expensive dinner, an extravagant, dinner, whatever the case may be. So, that is going to allow you to put money aside to be able to do that. But in doing that, the problem is that when we do a budget, the people who don't know about telling their money where to go, the problem is that when you do a budget, you pay your bills, and then whatever money is left over, you end up blowing it. And then that leads you to at the end of the year, if you've made a significant amount of money or you made any amount of money, you look back and you say, "Yo, where did all the money go that I made?" Why do you say that? You say that because there was no plan for your money, because if there was, you could start putting money away towards that plan, and then as you do that, you'll start seeing you getting closer to the end goal of whatever the plan was, if that makes sense. So, this is why it's going to be very important for us to set up a budget. Now, the budget is going to be as restrictive as you set it up to be, depending on where you want to go. So also if you don't really have anything to show for your budget when you do it, that's telling me that you are basically just paying minimum payments. And I talked about this on a podcast episode a few weeks ago, is that if we are just paying minimum payments on our debts, then we are making the banks rich and we're making ourselves broke. Why? Because if we're not paying the things down early and trying to pay them off early, then that is more interest that we're paying to them and not to us. I would much rather pay myself interest than pay the bank interest. So this is the way that we need to be thinking. And so when we think about doing a budget now that maybe our perspective has changed a little bit, we need to start thinking of how can we, when we're doing our budget, how can we save for an emergency fund? How can we save for college for our kids or trade school or where or something after high school that they're going to do that maybe not be college related? How can we save for a car? Um, like things of that nature. Like these are the things that we need to think of. Also, how are we going to reduce our expenses? Because in the very beginning, we talked about how are we going to get to the M's? We're going to get to the M's by reducing our expenses And then if we have a bunch of money left over, and that bunch of money can be 500 bucks, it could be $1,000, it could be $2,000 after you're done paying down your debts. Then you take that money and you invest it. And the hope is that your investment, that whatever you invest in is going to bring you back a return. And then that return is going to be able to fund your lifestyle eventually. So that's the way that we need to be thinking. And I'm not throwing stones because when I first started getting money, and I talked about this multiple times on this platform, when I started getting money, I was making up for lost time. So there was a point in time where I couldn't afford certain things. So I started buying luxury items. I started buying Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Um, my first like nice car was a Jaguar. Um, and I was buying like expensive dinners. When I say expensive dinners, like I'm taking multiple people out at one time, going to places like Ruth Chris, and the bill was like, 300-400 bucks a pop. And so basically I was, without saying it, I guess, I was like, okay, I'm getting money now. So now I'm going to, basically run it up. So again, I'm not throwing stones. I'm letting you know where I was, which is probably where you may be at this point in time because you're watching this podcast. And so what I had to do is I had to shift my focus from looking and acting wealthy and rich to actually being rich. How do we do that? My focus shifted from buying the luxury items, taking family members out to eat often, buying luxury vehicles, and I was focusing more on reducing my expenses. How did I do that? So instead of putting a line item in my budget to buy the luxury items, which that's what I was doing, I then shifted that from putting the money to buying, the luxury items, the dinners and things of that nature. Then I started shifting that to reducing my expenses. And then as I'm reducing my expense, I'm putting that in my budget every month, reducing my expenses, smallest to largest, so I can get those small wins. And then I would snowball the debt that I paid off, and then I would snowball that into the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And then sooner as I know it, now I have money to put my money to work. How did I do that? Mine, I bought real estate. So that's how I was trying to fund my investments or the assets to then be able to fund my lifestyle at a certain point in time. But then I didn't stop there. Then I started taking money from there and then funding it, funneling it, excuse me, into another vehicle to bring me back a greater return. And I didn't stop there. Then I started funneling that money into dividend paying assets, which are dividend paying ETFs, to then bring me back a greater return on that return. So as we continue to go and we continue to, our eyes are open to possibilities of being able to make more money, and not just make money just to make money. We're making money to then fund our lifestyle at some point in time. And we're giving ourselves options, and those options are going to give us um options to then be able to walk away or buy our freedom. When I say freedom, I'm talking about if we want to walk away from whatever job we're at currently. And here's the good news. If you're good with managing your money and telling your money where to go and handling those things, and then you're making a lot of money, then when you start making, let's just say you start making less money because you sell your business, or um your nest egg is at a point where you're pulling out a certain amount of money, and you're then on a fixed income based on the assets that you are bringing in, or bringing you a return. Then you'll be able to live and maintain that lifestyle based on you being disciplined with your money for all of those years, but it started today. So these are the things that when I'm talking about budgeting and stuff like that, I'm not talking about it just to be cheap. I'm not talking about it just so you can be restricted and not live the life that you want to live. We have to do the uncool things, which is budget your money, so we can live the lifestyle that we actually want to live. And that's how we do it. And so if we continue to reduce the expenses and then put that money to work, then we'll be able to live that life that we see on TV or on social media and actually be living that life and not be capping out here. Cuz some of those people that you see on social media, they're broke. That's a fact. So, instead of living and looking rich or wealthy or looking like you got it, let's actually do the things that we need to do to actually have it. And that starts with managing your money, telling your money where to go, but ultimately that is a budget. So what I'd like you to do, because we've been like these last couple of episodes, we've been talking about you don't have an income problem. We've been talking about handling your money for 30 days and tracking your expenses. We've been talking about things like that to lead up to this. And this is where we've been tracking our expenses. So then it'll lead us up to actually writing down and having a budget. And that budget is going to give you a roadmap to where you want to go. So where do you want to go? Do you want to have your all of your debts paid off? Do you want to be able to send your kids to school for free? Do you want to be able to have an emergency fund? So whatever your end goal is, and you also need to have small goals along the way as well, because you need to feel like, hey, I'm winning here. Then we got to come up with goals, and then the roadmap to the goal is going to be your budget. And if you need help with that, then that goes back to what I said in the very beginning, which is the 7-step course. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it'll give you all of the tools that you need to get to where you want to go for free. And then also I have a free budget tools on my website at wealthisajourney.com. It does not cost you a dime as well. Stuff on there for your children as well if they want to join the party. And I would encourage you to have them join the party. So when they get older, they'll already have this down and then they won't be a financial mess. And then they won't be coming to you asking you for money because they already know how to handle their own money. So we got to do the difficult things now, guys, because if we don't, then we are setting ourselves up for financial disaster. So, what we want to do this month is we want to start telling our money where to go. We want to set up a budget. So, if this is whatever month this is that you're watching this, we want to set up our budget for the next month before that month starts. So then when the money starts coming in, then we can start telling our money where to go based on whatever we planned for our money to do that prior month. So all of this is spelled out in that course. Um, so you can watch it there and get an idea of where you want to go, and then we're going to guide you on how to get there for free. So let's get it going, man. Like I know that it's tough, it's difficult out there, but at the same time, let's not make our lives more difficult by doing nothing. Because we have to act. We got to act now. Because if you don't do it now, there's going to be more time that's going to pass, and the more time that passes is more time for you to do nothing and get more and more comfortable doing nothing and just complaining about why your life sucks and why your life could be better. And these are not my words. These are things that you may be saying to yourself. I'm not saying that your life sucks, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I know I can be doing better, but I'm doing nothing about it. Let's act now. Let's get it done. and you do have somebody to walk alongside of you, man, we're here every week giving out game, giving out nuggets, giving out tips and tricks that's going to get you to your desired result, whatever that is. So that's the episode, man. Hopefully it wasn't too harsh, but like, listen, we got to go. We got to get to it, man. So hopefully this was a good episode for you to get you jump started. If you are struggling with anything or if there's areas of opportunity, put a comment below and let us know, and I will answer to the best of my ability on how to get you moving in the right direction. So that's it, guys. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.